Hey, everybody. This week on Up Your Alley, we've got two great movie recommendations. First, Jake recommended for me the, live-action cartoon, you would call it, Hundreds of Beavers. And I recommended for Jake the new action thriller Rebel Ridge. We're going to talk about that. Jake's going to do another live taste test of a Liquid Death flavor. And we're going to talk about Eurogamer's list of 100 games you need to play right now. Jake, anything to add?
No, that's the thing I was going to add.
Oh, you were going to add that?
I was going to say...
I added it.
I want to do Eurogamer.
Okay, we're going to do that too. Here's the theme. We're back here at Jake's house, chilling and recording the podcast on couches like professionals. How you doing, bud?
Hell, I'm doing A-okay, brother.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. So welcome everybody to the show. If it's your first time here, here's how it works. Jake and I are best friends. We recommend things to each other every week, come back the next week, and we rate them on a scale of 1 to 3 based on how much is up our individual alleys. Again, this week we're talking about Rebel Ridge, available to stream right now on Netflix, and Hundreds of Beavers, which is available to rent digitally. A bunch of places, it's like $2 to rent it.
Yeah.
So you can make that happen too.
Support them.
Let's get into first things first, because I know you're parched.
I am parched. I've been waiting for this.
So a couple weeks ago, we did a live on the podcast taste test of Liquid Death, who bafflingly is still not a sponsor of this podcast, even though I've not reached out to them and have had no contact with them
Why
whatsoever.
are they not listening to this?
You figure they'd have someone on staff.
We have 10,000 subscribers now. One of them should be Liquid
YouTube,
Death.
and some of them probably aren't bots. But so we did a live-action taste test of Hot Fudge Sundae, their limited edition flavor, and they put out a new limited edition flavor, which I immediately picked up 2 cases of. This is an autumnal flavor. First one.
I got to tell you. Oh, go ahead.
It's called Psycho Cider.
Yes.
It's like a sparkling apple cider. I tried it, and I'll give you my initial reaction. First of all, my initial reaction to Hot Fudge Sundae was, this is not something I should be putting into my body.
Yeah. That thing was just,
I love most Liquid Death flavors. I don't like the melon because I'm not a big melon person, and I don't like the peach tea because I don't like peach tea.
It tasted like a riddle.
Yeah.
It was like the answer is too stupid for me to understand why this is tasting like this.
Right. Although I will say, as most people know, I'm a big fan of NAs and NA culture.
Yeah.
I saw a total...
NA culture?
NA culture. NA life.
You guys are
There's
on
probably
like a
a
public
subreddit.
Discord or something?
No. What's funny about NA people is, like, there are a lot of people that were beer snobs that just stopped drinking, and now they're NA snobs, and I love it.
Gosh darn it. That is great, honestly.
Yeah.
We do need those, though.
It's the same amount of dickhead bravado, but they never get trashed on, like, an 8.3 IPA, and they get aggressive about it.
That is so funny.
Yeah, and then also it turns
them.
into, like, if you're on a long drive, this is the IPA for you. So it's great.
I mean, because, IPAs acquired taste.
Yes, it is.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. When we started hanging out, I didn't like them, but then, you'd buy some,
right,
or
when we
we'd go out
together.
and try one. Yeah.
Back in our youths.
Yeah, and after a while, I was like, okay, this one actually tastes good. And then from there, you develop a palate in that direction of what you enjoyed about that IPA.
That's a repetition thing.
That's how you find, like, better tasting beers.
Right.
And to have that in the NA community sounds funny.
Well, the NA community is also...
Well, it's great because, it's just a better product after a while.
It is, and the NA culture is, like, and the market's expanding as more and more states legalize marijuana, and some people are just like, you can get a little bit messed up without any of the downfalls of alcohol, how bad it is for your body, your liver, how much you feel like crap.
Pot-infused NA?
Oh, they have those. There's a couple companies that have
a great
them.
idea.
I don't think you can get them in the Commonwealth yet.
No. I've been looking because I love the idea of like a tea that just has like a little bit.
Yeah. There are companies that sell like spirits and stuff. I mean, that's not my thing.
Yeah.
I just like my NAs. But it's whatever floats your boat. And if you just drink straight A's, that's fine with you too.
Yeah, I'm cool with it.
So like right now,
That's
I'm
what I do.
Sierra Nevada Hop Splash, which is
I've tried that one.
It's my go-to. It's
That's good.
It's more of like a hop LaCroix. Like it's not a non-alcoholic beer. It's clear. It's a sparkling hop thing. But I love it. No calories, no alcohol, no nothing.
All right, back to the cider.
The Liquid Death Psycho Cider I think tastes like a non-alcoholic hard cider.
Okay.
It has that
Wow.
little bit of twang from like a hard cider, like a red hard cider. Do you remember what there was a company when we worked at the bar, they had a green cider and Hornsby's. Hornsby's had an amber draft. It tastes like an NA version of Hornsby's amber draft.
Okay. I like that one. That was a good one.
I'm not a big hard cider guy, but I enjoy this. So give
There's
it
ciders out there that are so much better than like Angry Orchard and stuff. That opened my mind.
Hornsby's, I think it's a British brand.
Yeah. Hornsby's is a nice, crispier one, but then there's ones that are just like delicious. I wish I could think of one off the top of my head. Anyway, I already cracked this bad boy open. I took a whiff of it, and it smells wonderful.
Yeah, I love cider.
Sip.
Give it a little sip.
Let's compare it to Hot Fudge Sundae real quick.
First of all, it tastes like food.
This is like 1,000 times better.
1,000?
Yeah.
That's 1,000.
Just a better way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a mathematical term.
Uh-huh.
It's
don't
much
want to
better.
get too technical. Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Yeah. This is much better. This is good.
Yeah. That's an enjoyable sip and beverage.
This is probably the strongest flavoring I've had of theirs ever.
I won't disagree with that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This doesn't taste like sparkling water.
They have
It's a sparkling cider.
It is.
Straight up.
Mm-hmm. It's good. Still not too terrible for you. So, yeah, that's a stunning endorsement for liquid. But you get what I'm saying about it tastes like a
It definitely tastes like
non-alcoholic
Hornsby's.
hard cider.
That's a good
Which
point.
I know that's just a sparkling cider. But it doesn't taste just like a Martinelli sparkling cider.
Yeah.
Like when you were kids and your parents would give you that instead of like champagne.
It doesn't taste like that.
No,
Yeah.
it tastes like an NA hard cider. Like NAs have gone full circle. There's NA White Claw, which is
There's not.
There's White Claw Zero. Yeah,
That's a 0 calorie.
no, zero alcohol.
Really?
There's NA White Claw. It's an Ouroboros. It's eating its own tail at this point.
People just got so addicted to it they need it for the party.
Well, it's
vibes.
it's branding too. So
I guess so.
it's whatever. Back when I was on the A's, I didn't like how White Claw tasted, regardless.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna have that, but it does taste like a non-alcoholic hard cider. I think it's a good choice by Liquid
this is
Death.
good.
I would love it if they started making some non-alcoholic cocktails. If they started branching more into that,
You'd be in, huh?
I'd be in. Yeah, like a little Manhattan or something.
Hell yeah.
A margarita, like
I can see that.
the severed lime tastes pretty good. It's kind of like a margarita.
I don't think I'd ever have a margarita that's not alcoholic.
My go-to non-alcoholic margarita is Ritual, their tequila, and Fresca.
Okay.
Top shelf.
Okay.
Top shelf. Had some earlier
Ritual
today
is
when I was
wild, dude.
I love Ritual.
That stuff is crazy.
And I know it's
got such a pungent smell. It's like this has to be alcohol.
Yeah.
But apparently it's not.
It's not, and I know it's way overpriced for what they're giving you because it's just flavoring and sugar water.
Yeah, sure.
But it's just the branding and everything, and you're used to paying $25 a bottle for liquor. So
it's crazy. It's
Yeah.
a crazy experience.
it's a crazy times that we're living in, Jake. That's for sure. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
bringing me
absolutely. And if they want to sponsor us, you can reach out to us upyouralleypod@gmail.com.
one. Man.
Someone from Liquid Death.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They're
someone.
listening.
All right, so
They're waiting for the right time to pounce.
yeah, they're waiting so they can get in at the absolute best time right before we take off.
Yeah.
I don't care if we have 1 million subscribers. Liquid Death's like, we'll send you a fridge and we'll keep it stocked. I'm like, 100%. Let's just make that happen because I had to buy a fridge and I keep it stocked with stuff from Walmart. It's not great. So you found this list from Eurogamer. I've been gaming a little bit recently.
Yeah.
Because I did get a new TV, which I sent you pictures of.
Yeah.
There's a Hisense TV on sale at Costco right now. Anyone that's got a Costco membership, it's just September. It's a 50-inch QLED for $230.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
That's hard to beat.
That's crazy how cheap TVs are these days.
Well, I think right before the holidays when the new ones come out, they're trying to get rid of the last year's stock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I got to make room. So it's a good time to buy a last year TV. Because I think we talked about this last week when we were talking about the PS5 Pro. And that's what made me want to go get the TV. Is I was like, I'm with my TV that I had downstairs in the office in the basement where the studio is. I wasn't getting full use of my PS5 on that TV because it was a 1080p old Vizio.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't even getting full graphics out of my
Not
PS5.
your 4Ks, baby.
No, and actually, I just uploaded a new video onto our podcast channel.
Yes, you did.
So I'm talking about two movies that we recommended on that. That we've talked about this show, Rebel Moon and Horizon, an American Saga.
Yeah.
A quick little video, so go watch that on there. But I uploaded that originally, like I upload these because they're audio only. I only upload them in 1080p because there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I just did my normal upload thing and then watched it on the new TV, and I was like, oh, this doesn't look as good as it does as it could.
Yeah.
And then I had to re-upload it in 4K. And I was like, look at me. That new TV made me realize that other people have nicer TVs and I should probably upload in better quality for them.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Looking
of course,
out.
if anyone's staring at the blank logo right now on YouTube and thinking it needs to be in better quality, send me a text or an email.
I think you should get ahead of this before we get complaints.
Yeah.
I don't want to read any of these angry emails that are
That
saying,
logo could be mildly more crisp.
yeah, if you could crisp it up a little bit, please.
Yeah. So
Yes.
let's talk about your Eurogamer thing.
I like this list, honestly.
So what is it? Where'd you find it? What is
It's
it?
on Eurogamer.net,
Uh-huh.
and it's called the 100 Best Games to Play Right Now.
Okay.
I like that terming of it.
Yeah.
Not to like rank it as
These are the best games of all time.
of all time. Yeah, there's like these are the games that we think you should play.
Right.
And first of all, the list is great. The list is just straight up pictures.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, you don't have to go through page after page to
Love
find
the old
out.
scroll. It's not like a recipe where
Ooh, and
like
then-
you're trying to find out this lady's peanut butter cookie recipe and then
Yeah.
you got to read a story about her grandma first.
You click on the photo, and then that's when they give you the rundown on why they put it on the list.
Good
and
for
where
you,
they did.
Eurogamer.
Yes, so Eurogamer, and I think that their list is just fantastic. There's some heavy hitters in here with some bangers that I don't think people really think about. What do you think their number one game is?
That we should be playing right now?
Yes.
How old is the game?
The game, that's a good question.
Yeah.
It is one of the oldest games,
Is it Pong?
but it is a newer version of it.
Oh.
Yes, sir.
A newer version of an older game?
Yes.
I'm going to say Mario Odyssey.
No, sir.
What is it?
The game is Tetris Effect.
I've never heard of Tetris Effect.
I would say this is a great choice. I wouldn't put it as number one, but it is a fantastic game.
What's Tetris Effect?
It is Tetris
Okay.
on the new consoles.
Yeah.
It is crazy. It's very pretty. It has a horoscope theme to it
Okay.
with different levels, or like Scorpio and stuff.
What's your sign? You're a Scorpio, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you?
Cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they get along? I don't know.
Scorpions and crabs, they're similar.
I have no clue.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a beautiful game. You can
Also,
play it
horoscopes are fake, so that helps too.
well, they're fun.
Well,
That's
they're
what I would
real.
say.
They're real, but they just don't mean anything.
They're fun. I like how fun they are. But you could play with friends on Tetris Effect.
Really?
Yeah, and you like work together to fight a boss. So
What's a Tetris boss?
so like the
the
you have
S-shaped
one
ones?
big guy. You have one guy who's computer playing, and he's trying to get his Tetrises so that he gets blocks to fall on your side.
Like a Dr. Mario situation.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess I'm not sure.
Dr. Mario, you're playing like against somebody, and you got to make more pills
Yeah,
disappear.
so
than them.
yeah, the more you get,
Yeah.
it sends on their side, and you work together with a friend to try and get him to fail
So are
before
you-
you guys fail.
Wait, are we both doing our own separate stacks?
Yeah.
Oh,
We
okay.
work
'Cause I was
together.
like, working
And then
cooperatively on one Tetris
somehow
would be insane.
There is the time when it merges together, and you guys have to work together to
Oh, God.
do it.
That sounds
Yeah.
like a lot.
It's fucking cool, man.
That sounds like a lot.
It's effing cool.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good choice.
Huh.
I like all the top 10. The second game, let's start with 10.
We're
Return of the Obra Dinn.
We're not doing all 100.
Yes, we are.
No, this is the podcast.
I'm starting
now?
from 10, going down to 100, and then I'm going to go work my way back.
So
9
Return of the
no.
Obra Dinn, that's one we've covered on this
Yes.
show.
And
Great
I think
game.
that's great.
Great game.
And the only game on this list from the top 10 that I haven't played is number 9, and it's called Nex Machina. Nex.
Not Ex Machina?
No. Nex Machina. Possibly the greatest video game collaboration of all time. Nex Machina sees the past and present of arcade gaming collide. Never heard of it, but I'm very interested now.
Huh.
Yeah, right?
Gotta love a good list like this.
This is what I'm talking about. Right here, this is the stuff. It doesn't feel... Because when you say, like, these are the best games of all time, it comes with the...
How many times are we going to rank Banjo-Kazooie number 1?
Yeah, well, it comes with personal preference,
Yeah.
and the discourse becomes attack. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
You are actually insulting me by
Right.
saying that my favorite game's not on this list.
Yeah.
Where this one is like, here's what we think you should play. Top 100 games you should be playing right now. You know,
Are there any like AAA titles on there, or is it mostly
Yeah.
like obscure games?
well, Tetris is a AAA game.
Well, I mean, like, you know.
Mario Kart 8 is number 2. Super Smash Brothers Ultimate is number 4. Outer Wilds is number 3.
Outer Wilds is a great game.
I love that fucking game. effing game.
No.
I am cursing up a storm this time.
Really?
That's not me. I don't understand.
You're fine. We're past the first 2 minutes. That's good.
Zelda, Breath of the Wild.
Breath of the Wild.
5. I would put Tears of the Kingdom over that, but that's just my...
Well, maybe if you're playing it
personal
right
choice.
now,
Yeah.
start there.
I think that's a great choice.
That kind of makes sense.
Baldur's Gate, number 6.
Baldur's Gate Trace.
Yeah.
Still haven't gotten
And-
around to that.
That's great.
I'm sure.
I thought you played it for 2 hours.
I played it for 2 hours. I haven't gone back to it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking about starting another one. Another game.
Let's play. Wait, do you have it for PlayStation?
Yes, I do. Yeah, we can
can
play
get
it together.
We could.
Hell yeah.
That might be fun.
I love that idea.
Might be able to film that for some content.
No.
Why not?
Because I want to have fun.
You're not having fun creating content with
No.
me? All right.
No. Least favorite part of the day.
I will say this, a game that, just jumping back into news, which I think is great, a game we talked about and we played together, Helldivers, was at one point my game of the year. 'Tis not anymore.
Yeah, what's it doing back in the news?
Helldivers is back in the news because they had this series of patches that they put out seemingly to coincide with the release of Space Marine 2. Because Space Marine, everyone was saying, oh, that's going to be so much better. There was discourse on Reddit and some of the other sites that, like, oh, once Space Marine comes out, no one's going to talk about Helldivers anymore.
No.
Because Space Marine's going to be the best game ever.
Wow.
Which I hear it's fun. I haven't played Space Marine.
But the coolest thing is that they integrated multiplayer into the single-player campaign.
Yeah.
I like that idea a whole bunch.
But so what the Helldivers devs have done is, like, over the past week, once a day they'll put out a new patch, which just fixes something that people complain about.
Yeah.
Like weapons that they had nerfed, they're like, guess what? This is back up to full damage just like it used to be. And then they increase the radius of like the 500... Bless you. They increase the radius of like the 500 kilogram explosive, and they change the visuals. So like it's bigger and it looks prettier now. Just nonstop fan service for a week. And everyone's like, oh, it's so much fun now. So I booted it back up last night. Yeah. It's fun. The community is still great, and it's one of the best games to play online.
We had a great time when we played it, man.
Still my number 3 game of the year, though.
It's a fantastic game.
And what are you going to do?
Cannot get over how good that game was.
Oh, yeah. It's not as good as Astrobot, though.
Astrobot's a very fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Very true.
So any other big finds on there that we should know about?
What's really cool is, I mean, like, it's got a visual novel on here.
Huh.
And I've been trying to think of a visual novel to get you to play. Yeah.
There's a game that I read reviews of, and I almost downloaded it, but it looked too... So when I got my TV, I found a YouTube thing, and I want to say it was What Culture Gaming, or it might be Game Ranks. It's one of the YouTube gaming things that I subscribe to, so I apologize for not sourcing it. Mm-hmm. But it was the best looking games. Mm-hmm. And your Cyberpunk was on there, and a couple other ones that I had heard about was on there. But there was a game that I had not played that looked amazing, but it just looked scary. It's called Still Wakes the Deep.
Yeah, I want to play that.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's like a Lovecraftian and kind of like The Thing body horror set on an oil rig.
Yeah.
Looked amazing, but looked terrifying.
I'm pretty into it. I'm pretty into what it looks like.
Yeah, you like the horror.
Yeah.
It looks like a very Cronenberg, like, spooky time.
Yeah. But
Which
very pretty, and ocean stuff is very scary.
Yeah, and it's set in like
it's doing that stuff pretty cool.
What they talked about was that it's set in the 70s, so that kind of can hide some visual things they can't make.
Yeah.
Like screens and lighting. Like you don't have to do your cyberpunk like neon flashing stuff and everything like that because it's set in the 70s on an oil rig, so it's limited space, doesn't have to be open world, so you can really focus in on making all the details
true.
As photorealistic as possible.
I think that's what's killing video games.
Photorealism?
Honestly. Yes. Pushing for that. We're waiting 6 to 8 years for another Grand Theft Auto because it has to be super duper pretty.
15 years since Grand Theft Auto came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's insane.
And they might push it back. They're pushing back GTA 6 a little bit more. Because I think one of the devs, I read this on X, one of the devs basically said, people are going to be playing this game for over 10 years, so we'll release it when it's ready. And they don't mind. They're still releasing patches or updates for Grand Theft Auto Online now. They
just released one for anti-cheat,
Yeah.
which made it so you couldn't play it on Linux.
Really?
So about 30% of owners of the game weren't allowed to play their game anymore.
Well, were they cheating?
No, the anti-cheat methods don't work on Linux.
Huh.
So the game just doesn't work.
Huh.
So now Steam's refunding them.
I find it hard to believe 30% of people playing that game play on Linux.
Steam Deck is on Linux.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
That's still not 30%.
Oh, you don't know?
I would say it's maybe
Cite your sources, buddy.
my brain.
Yeah, there you go.
It's all Xbox. Everyone that I play online with on that game is a dick. And in my mind, dickheads play Xbox. So therefore, my primary source says it's 98% people on Xbox.
There's a game on this list that I think you would enjoy.
What's that?
It's called Tunic. They placed it 12.
Oh, is that like a little fox boy?
Yep.
Little fox-looking Link?
I think you would love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It always
I
pops up in
love
my
it.
PlayStation recommended.
It's definitely very unique.
Yeah.
This is one of the, I would say it's a gorgeous game.
Yeah, it looks like Breath of the Wild.
It doesn't need photorealism to prove to me
Oh,
that
yeah,
it's
no.
cool.
But with photorealism, I like how that's becoming a separate genre of game style.
Well, there's a great
Just like
video
there's a-
from Jacob Geller, just his most recent video,
Uh-huh.
that he talks about how that's a chase that is you can never reach it. It's the horizon because Hellblade Senua's Saga 2, I can't remember what it's called.
Right.
He said that's the most gorgeous game I've ever played. He's like, but that's going to change in a year when the
Right.
next game comes out.
Yeah.
And it's like the wildest thing to chase because as soon as you make it, it's irrelevant.
I think the best one I've seen so far, and that plays into the fact that it's not, like you're looking at your eyeballs, is that game Body Cam, which looks like
Yeah,
it's a
it
police
looks
body
pretty
cam.
wild.
It looks realistic, but
Yeah.
it looks like it's a shitty police body cam.
Yeah.
But it looks exactly like that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could have the art style like what's Animal Well? It looks like an 8-bit game.
Yeah.
But it plays like a new game. Like the
Yeah.
controls are so tight and the platforming's so good.
Yeah.
Is that 2024? Yeah.
Yeah, that was this year, I believe.
That's in my top 5 games of the year too.
I haven't played that yet. I look forward to it.
Yeah.
There's another game that just came out that's actually 40 games called UFO 40 that I want to pick up.
40 games?
Yeah, all 8-bit inspired games.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. I saw play of a couple of them,
Yeah.
and it's just like, that seems like a fun little thing to pick up.
Well, speaking of cool art styles, I got a new comic in the mail. It's the release of the first volume in trade paperbacks. I've kind of given up in my comic reading of getting individual issues monthly just because it's a pain in the ass for me.
Sure.
And I'll just wait until the trade paperback comes out and I'll buy that.
Yeah.
So it's the release of a trade paperback. The book is called Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
Okay.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So it's a writer and artist, Patrick Horvath. Sorry, I'm saying his name wrong. The art style is adorable.
Yeah.
It looks kind of like the busy world of Richard Scarry.
Oh, yeah?
Like just Google Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees.
That's what I'm on.
It looks like that kind of nice old Winnie the Pooh book, like just sweet animation, and it's all animals.
Okay.
Like it's anthropomorphic animals like the busy world of Richard Scarry. But the main character is a murderer.
Okay.
Like a super graphic, cutting people's heads off murderer. So it's kind of like a Dexter thing where she's a professional serial killer.
This is giving me a Happy Tree Friends feeling.
A little bit like that. It kind of
Yeah.
reminds me a little bit Happy Tree Friends and a little bit of the Blood Orgy episode of South Park,
Yeah.
where it's just like hyper violent animals, but it's not funny. It's pretty dark,
Yeah.
but it's really great. I'm really enjoying the trade paperback. I'd lend you that as soon as you return the stack of comics that I've lent you that you still haven't read.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and read those.
Yeah, so I recommend that if someone wants to pick that up on Comixology or on Amazon. Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees. That won't be a rec on the show, but it's a personal rec for me.
Okay.
But speaking of recs, let's get into our recs for this week. Let's talk
Yeah.
about my rec first.
All right.
'Cause
Rebel
I think I
Ridge.
have- I think I have more to say about your rec. So Rebel Ridge is a Netflix original available to stream on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not sure if this is a Netflix Studios thing or if they just bought the movie.
I never know how to know that stuff.
Yeah. But it's on Netflix. It wasn't in theaters. I think this could have been in theaters.
I think the biggest detriment to this movie is that it's not in theaters.
I think if this was released in theaters, it would have been one of those things that opened small and everyone's like, "Holy shit!" This first of all, out of the gate, I can already tell this is
a 3.
It's a 3 from you.
This movie is incredible.
In the first 5 minutes of this movie, I was like, "Jake's gonna love
My
this."
gosh. I was going to sit down and I was like, I'll play Monster Train while I'm watching this movie.
No, you won't.
And then He's riding a bike, and I'm like, it's all right. He gets hit by a cop, and I'm like, what? This just happened. And whoa, right out the gate,
So
this movie
it
starts.
stars Aaron Pierre, who is not super famous.
I don't know him from much, if at all, anything.
Aaron Pierre is he's actually in talks for James Gunn. He's making a Lanterns TV series.
Jon Stewart?
Yeah, he's in talks to be Jon Stewart.
He'd be a cool Jon Stewart.
He's a gigantic,
Yes.
jacked
Yes.
African-American dude, and he is so great in this. So the premise of Rebel Ridge
He is so good in this.
is
And Terabithia is really good in this movie, too.
Aaron...
Anna Sophia Robb.
Bridge... You called her Terabithia. She's in Bridge Terabithia. And also Pam's...
She's in Escape to Witch Mountain. You know what that movie is about?
Leaving Witch Mountain?
It's about twins have superpowers.
Twins.
But guess who has the most superpowers? Boy-girl twins. Guess who's boy-girl twin? Jake. Jake's boy-girl twin. I have
You
a
are
girl twin.
boy-girl twin.
So me and my sister really loved that movie growing up.
Aw. I'm
Oh,
boy-girl Irish twins. It's not the same. It's kind of the same.
It's kind of the
We're
same.
less than a year apart. But no, Aaron Pierre plays Terry Richmond. So the movie it's also got Pam's first husband from The Office in it.
Oh, that's
David
what
Denman.
I've been trying to find out.
Yeah.
Who
And
that guy
Don
is.
Johnson is
Good
fantastic.
job from David Denman.
Yes, he's great in this movie.
But Don Johnson is also fantastic.
Don
Aaron
Johnson,
Pierre,
I think-
Don Johnson. It's just great.
Any scene between Aaron Pierre and Don Johnson,
Yeah.
Don Johnson plays a cop, and he's just a corrupt, racist cop. Similar to did you watch Watchmen on HBO?
No.
He plays a similar character in Watchmen.
He plays a similar character in Brawl at Cell Block 99.
He's just really good at being a shitty old white man
Yeah.
who's just full of himself,
great
and you just
actor.
want to punch him in the head.
But
So Aaron
great
Pierre
cast
as Terry
throughout.
Richmond, he's like Jake said at the beginning of the movie, he's pedaling on his bike. You can tell by the outside he's in the bayou. He's in the South, Louisiana.
what song was he listening to?
Oh, he was listening. Fuck,
Some classic metal song.
it wasn't Iron
Damn it.
Maiden.
I can't remember what it was, but I was like, that's a good song choice. Damn it. I wish I could remember. But it was a cool classic metal song.
Yeah. So and he's got him in his headphones. Like the cops knock him over because you see the cops' headlights are behind him, and he's can't hear him because he's got his headphones in, and then they knock him to the ground, arrest him, search his backpack, and then he's like, "You can't search my backpack." So clearly this guy's smart. He knows the law. He's like, "You can't search my backpack." They're like, "We're gonna get the dogs here to see if there are drugs in there." He's like, "How long is this gonna take?"
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, probably 2 hours."
He's like,
And then
I
he
have
says
to be
he
in
has
town
to-
by 5.
Yeah, he's got to be in town by 5. And he's like, "If I let you search my bag, can we speed this up?" They're like, "Yeah." Lets him search his bag. He's got $20,000 in cash in there. I think it was $26,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And the cops take it. A thing called asset forfeiture. Funny thing about this movie,
36K.
36K. So the cops take it as asset forfeiture. This movie was talked about on one of my favorite podcasts, The Weekly Planet, hosted by 2 Australian guys. They briefly reviewed it. They just said, "Oh, I watched this on Netflix. It's really good." And their first thing was like, "Oh, and the cops take his $36,000." And Australians were like, "What? That's illegal." And I was like, "Oh, Australia, you do not know how the American judicial system works."
That has been legal for a long time.
So real quick, in my
that was one of the things that I really enjoyed. Yes.
in my legal background.
Yeah.
Oh, it was Iron Maiden. It was Number of the Beast. I just
Cool.
Googled it. I thought it was Iron Maiden. But civil asset forfeiture basically means if you have a large amount of money on you, and you can't prove how you got that money is illegal. So the cops take that money, and then you have to prove why you have that money, and sue that money to get it out, because there will be a case.
They'll sue your money.
Right.
Saying
the
that
state will, like,
this is illegal money.
when
And
I-
you have to prove that this is innocent money.
when I was taking classes to become a paralegal, you study cases like this, and there are some weird names. Like there's court cases that you have to study. It's like the Commonwealth of Virginia versus $200 in cash and a Ford Fiesta, and at one point it was like the state of Massachusetts versus 200 gallons of Coca-Cola syrup.
We are
just like things
awful.
that. Well, I mean,
We're awful.
there is
awful litigation.
There can be Commonwealth of Virginia versus 100 pounds of marijuana. Like
so
you're
crazy.
suing a thing. There's a court case about a thing, and then they have to prove that thing is illegal. And checking all the boxes and everything like that. Yada yada yada. That's to say,
Crazy.
there have been some cases where maybe police officers seized money or assets and then brought it back into their budget.
Yeah.
For, helping the community and doing great things with the community.
If that is illegal money, the money goes to the community.
If you're, a guy gets busted,
it just so happens that it's 99% of the time illegal money.
Right. If
it just so happens that
if a guy gets busted with $200K in cash and then pounds of cocaine, that cash is party to a crime. So that gets taken too. You don't get to just keep your drug money. So in that sense, yes, the law does make sense. Because they don't want that money being used against them in court cases and stuff like that. Your civil asset is forfeited. That's what it is. It becomes radically clear that these cops are not on the up and up. Just
you
on
can
the way
exploit it. Yeah,
they're white cops from Mississippi, and Aaron Pierre is a African American man. That vibe is inherently given. It's like these guys are kind of racist, and they're treating him with disrespect, and they take his money. So I knew that would be. I know Jake hates injustice. Yeah. I know Jake loves when corrupt cops get their comeuppance. Yeah. And I was like, this movie, Jake is going to love.
What got me going, right, is not that he was out for vengeance, because wherever he went, he would only hurt people to stop them. Right. That's it. Mm-hmm. Very Batman of him.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of times when he could just cathartically ruin a cop, and he's like, "Is not what I do."
So that's
that's the greatest thing, is he's just trying his best to be out of this situation.
What we find out early on,
he's like, "I need the $10K.
Right.
I'm trying to get my cousin out of jail."
Yeah, his cousin.
This is bail.
His cousin is.
He's like, "You guys could keep this money, but just give me $10K of it. You keep the $26K." And then they're like, "All right, meet you at the hospital."
And it finds out. Well, more backstory. It finds out that his cousin has been arrested in kind of the same thing by this small town sheriff's office. And his cousin was a witness against a drug trial where his cousin was busted for selling drugs, and he turned state's witness. So his whole thing was, if he gets shipped to county, something bad's going to happen to him immediately, because enough people know him and enough people know that he testified. And there's people in the county jail where if he goes there, if you turn state's witness, things don't usually end well for you when you have to go back to jail.
Yeah.
A lot of people take that shit personal. And
if Taylor's a murderer and I work for him, and then I get arrested, I'm like, look, I got all this evidence with Taylor.
Yeah.
And like, we can put him away for good. He's like, okay, well, that's great. We're going to put you right back in that jail cell with Taylor while we wait this out.
And I'd just be like, aw, buddy.
Yeah, he's like, I get it.
Not cool.
He's going to be all stabby.
Oh, yeah. Big time. But so the greatest scene in this movie is Don Johnson as the shady police chief. He's having one of his deputies check out Terry Richmond, Aaron Pierre's character. And he says, like, look him up. And it's like, oh, he's in the Marine Corps. And it's like, what do you do in the Marine Corps? Because he's a giant.
MCMAP.
Right. He said he didn't go to combat. He was never deployed overseas.
Yeah.
He just stayed in the U.S. And he's MAPS. And they're like, what? What's that?
Maps?
It's like, oh, yeah. What did he do? He trained people how to read maps and stuff. And then during that conversation, it finds out that stands for Marine Corps Martial Arts Instruction Services. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Or something.
So he is an MMA fighter, essentially. And he's just John Wick, but not for guns, but also kind of for guns.
He doesn't do anything crazy.
No.
He just does things where he disarms you,
and he says,
disarms the gun.
You need to stop or I'm going to break your arm
and then
right
puts him down. It's great. It's such good stuff.
And he does it the action in this is so quick and deliberate on his part. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows exactly what it's almost like the Neo, like, blocking Agent Smith at the end of the Matrix, but he's just doing it, not with all the motion blur and in bullet time. He's just like, nope, I'm going to hit you here. I'm going to hit you here. Now you're on the ground.
Aaron Pierre, I look forward to seeing him in more movies.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
He's great in this. Mm-hmm. He does a good job showing that he is controlling his emotions.
Yes.
That's one of the greatest things is throughout, like, the first half hour of this film.
He's got great big expressive eyes, too. Yeah. And he just kind of stares at you, and you're like, I would not want to be on the other end of this stare at all.
He's being jerked around for half an hour.
Yeah.
Right? And there's this part where he's just leaning over, signing in to something, and you just see sweat dripping off his face, and the guy's like, "You okay?" And he just looks up at him. You can tell he's tired. He's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." And you're like, he's doing such a good job showing that he's just like, "Oh, no, I'm not okay." But I can't tell you that, you douchebag.
This is a movie that I will say I don't want to spoil because I really think people should go on Netflix and watch this. There is basically Aaron Pierre and Anna Sophia Robb's character, who she works at the clerk's office. She like sort of a public defender, and she works for the old judge that was there.
She wants to do what's right.
Right, and she has her own backstory that comes out later, but there's the story's deeper. Like, he goes down a rabbit hole in this small town in a level of corruption. I think this has a little bit of John Wick vibes. I think it has a little bit of Rambo vibes, or at least First Blood.
I don't think so.
Well,
I think just because he lives in the woods.
That's what I'm saying. That's Rambo vibes. He goes back to the swamp and he's just living there, like kills a fish, eats it. You just see how capable he is.
Yeah.
And he just shows up at the cops. He's like, you guys just need to do the right thing.
It's a great movie. I was
so
very happy
great
with everything. I was gripped within the first 5 minutes. And
that Rotten Tomatoes score has got to be wrong. 95% critics, 69% audience?
Dude, what do you... audience scores mean nothing.
Audience? No.
Also, critic scores mean nothing.
I understand, but
Both
I would say...
of these scores are stupid.
But when there's a discrepancy in the Rotten Tomatoes,
That's
you can
political.
you can usually see why.
Yeah, you can see why. I'm looking at it right here. There's a black guy in the front of it.
You think that's how bad Rotten Tomatoes is?
That's exactly how it goes.
That's a bummer.
That's exactly how it goes.
People suck.
People don't know how movies work.
God,
and they get mad and they review bomb.
I will say this. This movie works.
It's sad.
I mean, it's a great movie.
Yes.
Like I said, David Denham's great in it. Don Johnson and Aaron Pierre are fantastic. Anna Sophia Robb's great, too.
Spectacular cast. It's just a well-paced movie. It's got That'll Do Pig in it as the judge.
Yeah. It's really tense the whole time.
That'll Do Pig. What's your name?
Talking about James Cromwell?
James Cromwell.
Oh, I was trying to figure out where you were going with That'll Do Pig. I was like, I don't understand. Oh, but you're Babe. Babe reference, yeah.
Yeah.
James Cromwell's the old judge.
But it's a great movie.
Yeah.
It's something where, yes, you get proper justice. The type of justice that I enjoy, which is moral. You know, it makes sense when you think about it.
There's a great joke. It's my favorite. Well, there aren't many jokes in this movie, but it's just so Terry has a boss he used to work for at a Chinese restaurant, Mr. Liu, and ends up needing Mr. Liu after he'd been injured. And he's there with Anna Sophia Robb, and Mr. Liu's stitching him up. And he says, Mr. Liu was a field medic in Korea. And Anna Sophia Robb's like, oh, thank you for your service. He's like, he fought for the Chinese.
Yeah.
Other side. And I was just like, that's hilarious.
That's a good one.
Yeah. It's like, oh, no. He did not fight for us.
The theme that I enjoy, of course, is the just how the law can be unforgiving.
This is unadulterated justice. It's very Batman.
Well, because the thing I would say about one of Anna's things is she stole a lawnmower when she was a kid. But because it had a snowblower attachment to it, it put it over $1,000, so she became a felon.
Right.
You know, and that ruined her life.
Yeah.
Because there was a snowblower attachment. That's the type of stuff where the technicalities will ruin you.
Right.
And that's the stuff that is injustice to me. And this movie is just full of that, and just like,
it's a great movie.
Just
well-paced.
Bringing light to that shit feels so good.
It's super tense. I think everybody should watch it. Again, it's and I would say if you're not a big action movie person, you could still like this movie. It's a very tense movie. It's not a
the action more delivers intensity.
I would say a straight action movie is something more akin to like how much we both loved The Beekeeper, and where it's just like this is just a silly action movie. Rebel Ridge is not. It's a tense thriller of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Rebel Ridge. It's on Netflix. We both can't recommend it enough.
Yeah.
So, Jake, let's go to your recommendation, which was Hundreds of Beavers. I got two dates for this movie. It says 2022 and also 2024.
Yeah.
I think it was released initially in 2022, and then it kind of got bought by a distributor and re-released in 2024.
I think, it came out in 2024 for, like, public consumption.
Regardless, bunch of nobodies in this.
Yeah.
It's a very indie film.
Yeah.
Which is incredibly Canadian, but apparently it's set in Minnesota or Wisconsin or one of those states.
They make the Green Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's like Wisconsin.
Yeah. Wisconsin-y. But yeah, northern Midwest.
Yeah.
Jake, how'd you find this? Because this was not on my radar.
I can't remember.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. It was already in my head at the beginning of the year.
Uh-huh.
And then I go through Twitter all the time, and just one time I just saw from their account just being like, yeah, everybody watch this movie.
From whose account?
Hundreds of Beavers account.
Oh.
They're like, yeah, everybody watch this movie, please.
Yeah.
And then I was like,
were you
They're
already
right.
following the Hundreds of Beavers account?
no, I think it was just something that popped up
Oh.
at some point.
Leaving too many comments on adult websites?
Yeah.
And you get tagged with Hundreds of Beavers?
And I,
That's a joke about a thing that's happening in North Carolina. Google it. We can't talk about it on the podcast.
I looked into it, and it was just like, it's a comedy akin to Looney Tunes and Airplane.
Yes.
And I was like, I haven't seen something made like that in a long time, and I want to watch that.
I don't get Airplane from it because, first of all,
I think the only thing that was they're pulling from is irreverence. And nothing has been irreverent like this in a long time.
So this, I wouldn't even say is like a comedy like Airplane is.
No, it's not.
It's
like Looney Tunes.
It's a live action cartoon.
Yeah.
It is literally just a live action cartoon. So the setting of this is the main character, Jean Kayak. He has a place where he sells hard cider. Speaking of hard ciders, that's a little throwback to that. And at the beginning of it, he gets really drunk and wrecks his hard cider place.
Yep.
So he's naked.
Blows up. Everything's on fire.
So he's naked in the woods, and it starts from there. And it's just a cartoon. It's a live action cartoon. It's shot amazingly well because some parts of it, obviously,
It looks like an old black and white silent film.
it's got that grain on it, and some parts of it are clearly, shot on a green screen. Like at the end, they go into, and I don't think spoilers are important for this because it's a cartoon. You're gonna love watching it.
I've watched it. When I watched it, I loved it. The very next day, I went and visited my parents, and I watched it again with my niece and nephew. It was the only time that they sat through a whole movie with me.
Really?
Yeah.
So
We were laughing and having a great time with it.
It's set up in a 3-act structure, and it's kind of like 3 episodes of a cartoon show, and you get the story of this guy. So he's trying to make his life back together, and he becomes involved with a fur trapper because he meets a furrier, and he wants to
first he wants to survive, and then he wants to be a trapper, and
because
then he has to survive the beavers.
He meets a pretty lady, the only pretty lady that's there, and her dad's like, if you want to marry my daughter, you have to give me hundreds of beavers. Mm-hmm. That's where we get the title of the film. That takes place like an hour into the film that they actually say the name.
All I
Hundreds of
saw
Beavers.
was the poster for it, and I was like, it's going to be the birds, but with beavers.
Right.
But how wrong was I?
And all the animals, by the way, they're guys in mascot costumes.
Yes.
It gave me vibes of, did you ever watch Trigger Happy TV?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very Trigger Happy TV.
I love all the animals.
Yeah. So I have notes.
Even the frog. The frog is my favorite because it's just a little puppet.
Yeah.
And when they're stealing it, it screams.
Yeah. So I have notes. Oh, my first note is cancel whatever Fandor is. Fandor, if you sign up on Amazon Prime, if you get a free week trial of Fandor, you can watch this movie.
Another channel thing. This is just cable television.
I understand, but you can
so sad.
You can watch this movie and then cancel it.
I know.
You get a free 7-day trial.
That's great. Stupid.
So just some of the cartoon stuff. I'm a big cartoon fan. Like, I love the slapstickiness of cartoons. I don't think it's a slapstick comedy like you said, Airplane. It's Looney Tunes. It's Coyote and Roadrunner.
Yeah.
The first time when he's trying to eat, he's trying to catch a bunny, which is a man in a bunny costume, and doing all these things, and he keeps falling down into holes, or he ends up hitting himself on the head, or sliding down and stepping on pine cones and everything like that. Yeah. At one point, he makes a lady snow bunny, like a snowman bunny, and he puts boobs on it. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, that's genius. Like, it's just such a cartoon.
And then 2 bunnies walk by, and they show that they're holding hands, saying that they're a couple, and he goes, ah.
That's why it's not working.
Yeah, that's why.
Another thing. I have a note that just says this must have been a blast to shoot, because some of it is done on location. You could tell, like, when he's like on a river and stuff like that. Like, it's real locations where they shot out in the snow, or it might have been fake snow. I don't know, but I hope it wasn't real snow, because this dude's shirtless for a lot of it, and this dude is jacked.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ryland Brixton's the dude's name.
He looks like Jeremiah Johnson.
He does a little bit. The music in this, great.
Yeah.
So the music is
like what keeps it fun. Yeah.
Well, I mean, Looney Tunes originally merry melodies. It was just a way to do music and like make something to go along with it, like the old Bugs Bunnies, like where he's in the opera and things like that. That's how a lot of people got introduced to classical music. kind of like a funny Fantasia. There's a lot of double reeds in it, which I love because I'm a double reed guy.
Dude.
Trained bassoonist.
Yeah. Reeded instruments sound the best.
Yeah, and they're cartoony. You get a bassoon and an oboe. It's just funny.
But I like the logic is sound.
Yes.
As in, one of the things that he does when he finds eggs, he goes, but that makes the woodpecker come and peck on his head.
That was a good whistle, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But every time he whistles, the woodpecker will find him and peck his head.
Yeah, like a homing beacon.
So he starts using it.
Right. So that's the other thing.
As a tactic.
So when he goes up and he meets the furrier and the furrier's daughter, and the furrier has a board that's like, one coin gets you a rope, and then another coin gets you this, yada, yada,
One coin gets you a knife, 2 coins gets you the rope.
And it's a comically small knife. But it's a Metroidvania game. Like, he keeps going through this loop, and he gets new gear, and he meets the same situations of trying to catch the beavers here, get that, and then it's essentially like going through, and it's like, oh, now I have this power up, so I can go here.
You can see how he's learning while he's doing it. My favorite is he starts using bear traps. Yeah. But when he starts just trapping them, he's walking up to the beavers and they start swiping their hands at him, so he doesn't get close to them. So he goes back to the only thing that he knows that kills them, and he chops down trees and throws them down on them.
And eventually gets a bat. Until he gets a gun,
and then he just dunks them on the head. Yeah. Their blood is just packing peanuts.
Right.
That's great.
Well, there's at one point where he kills a raccoon, and the furrier lady makes a raccoon suit.
Yeah.
And she's cutting it up, and it's just like cutting up, and it's all just like organs, felt nonsense.
But it's going, ugh.
Yeah. It's so great. There's, what am I saying?
All the props are just so much fun.
And I think
what I loved.
It's the limitations are turned into jokes. Like, there's a time when he meets up with a big trapper guy, and he's got snow dogs, and they catch a raccoon. And so they can't show the snow dogs like mauling the raccoon because that's gross. So the people in the dog costume just kick the raccoon to death.
Just beat the hell
like
out of it.
standing up on 2 legs and just start kicking it. I'm like, just making the limitations part of the joke.
I knew I was in love with this movie when 3 beavers are walking with a couple of logs.
Yeah.
And you see him crest the hill with a sled, and he just rides down and knocks the one in the middle, and they all just kind of tumble and fight each other.
Yeah, it's a cartoon. It's just like
crazy good stuff.
And the way it builds, it's like the old Coyote and Roadrunner cartoons. Like, Roadrunner's going to try to catch Coyote on skates, and it doesn't work. So then he comes back with skates with a fan attached to the back, and he still can't catch him. And then he's got skates with a rocket attached to the back, and then he can catch up with Roadrunner, blows past them, and then he explodes. Like, it's just that kind of comedy.
Yeah.
There's a running gag where the merchant's trying to spit into a spittoon and misses.
Yeah.
And a comedy of things happen to make his big loogie miss the spittoon.
Yeah.
Until
my favorite
the end.
is when he spits it up and it lands in his gun, and he points his gun at the spittoon, and it still misses when he fires.
Yeah. I also liked what are my notes? Oh, there's a beaver Sherlock Holmes that's following up on beaver deaths.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of, they do that joke in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, where the cops are like following them along, and then they see like the knights that King Arthur and everyone had murdered, and they have like their own little crime scene report.
Yeah.
Just, you could tell what it draws from.
I like
it's great
because you see like how the beaver died and what beaver Sherlock Holmes thinks happened.
Yeah.
Where he stretched a beaver and that killed it, but what he thinks is he made a zombie beaver.
Right. And at the end they go to like, the beavers are building a giant dam, and at the end they go through it, and there's beaver court, and he's got like a beaver flop sweat attorney against a beaver like southern attorney who's like stretching out his suspenders.
Yeah, he's got the suspenders.
It's just such great cartoonish. I would say kids probably shouldn't watch this.
No, they can watch it.
I'd say
I watched it with a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old.
I mean, the furrier lady does a pretty nice striptease in her underpants.
She does a pole dance. Yeah.
That's not soups appropriate.
They can handle it. They'll be fine.
All right. Well, I know they will, but I'm just saying I don't want to recommend it to if you have kids, be like, put this on for your kids. Like, watch it first. Like, it.
Yeah, watch it first. See if you'll find it appropriate for your kids.
You know
That's a
your
good
kids
point.
better than we do. I like how at the end, like the final action scene, the wheels just kind of fall off where he's on a sled being chased by beavers, and they're just going down a road. And at one point, they just pass like a
for sale sign.
like a for sale real estate sign. I'm like, good, leave it in because like it's just funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah. I can't recommend this enough. My favorite review, I went on our favorite website, Letterboxd, and there was a review. All the review said was, dumbest shit I've ever seen. 5 stars. And I was just like, facts. I agree with that. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I loved it. 5 stars.
Yeah, I went and when I saw it the second time, I was showing it to the niece, nephew, and my dad. And my dad, for most of it, was like, this is pretty boring. But then after a while, it like broke him down.
Yeah.
Because he was like, this is really stupid. But then it was the carrot, when he made a gigantic carrot out of snow.
Yeah.
And he was going to push it and roll it down the hill. But since it's shaped conically, it just rolls off to the side.
That's physics, kids.
It was funny.
Yeah. Can't recommend enough. Like, find a place to watch this. Hundreds of Beavers. Watch Rebel Ridge. This is a double 3 week. Like, both of these movies.
This was like the biggest week of Rex to me.
I mean, it's a win-win for both of these.
I wouldn't have some of the best of the year.
I wouldn't have watched Hundreds of Beavers, and you probably wouldn't have watched Rebel Ridge had it not been for this show.
I already had a buddy watch it and review it in our Facebook group.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, this is a good movie. I was like, okay, that's good to know. But then I watched it, and I got back in the movie group, and I was like, he's underselling it, the asshole. He's a dummy.
He's a dummy.
This is a great movie.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, everybody, for listening to this show. If you want to get in touch with us, you can write us in at upyouralleypod@gmail.com. Subscribe to the YouTube. Subscribe on wherever you're listening to the podcast. Let's find out what we're going to be talking about next week. Jake, what you got for me?
It's been a while since I got you to watch some anime.
Oh, boy.
And you're going to watch some anime.
What anime?
Because I'm watching it now, and I think it's incredible.
What anime?
I'm telling you.
What anime? Tell me.
I've been playing Cyberpunk.
Uh-huh.
I'm loving it.
Uh-huh.
I already love it. But they also have a companion show on Netflix called Edge Runners.
Edge Runners.
Yes.
And that's by the same people that did...
It's by a anime company called Trigger.
But it's licensed. Like, this is
goes
along
Cyberpunk.
with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was released... This coincided with...
Is
the
it like a
release of
series?
Cyberpunk.
What do you want me to watch? As a movie or
It's
what?
10 episodes.
Okay, so I'll watch some of it.
Yeah, watch some
I'll
of
get
it.
to it. Yeah, I'll definitely do that. So Edge Runners on Netflix. I have something for you on Netflix. Jake, I don't know if you would have thought I would recommend this, and maybe you're rubbing off on me, but I am going to recommend to you
Porno?
No.
All right.
Only if you're looking for funny comments by political officials. Google it. North Carolina. Just Google it. Just saying. I am recommending to you a foreign film.
Uh-huh.
What if I were to say recommending you a French film?
We already watched Anatomy of a Fall, and I loved it.
And that's not French. That's like half French, half German, half English, and all terrible.
Yeah.
This is a film that's available to stream on Netflix. I will say this popped up initially on Netflix with the dubs. Mm-hmm. I switched over to subs. Watched it with the subs. The French cast is fantastic in this film.
Emily in Paris.
No. The French title is Sous le Seine. In English, it is known as Under Paris.
Under Paris.
Under Paris. Do you know what happens under Paris, Jake?
No.
The catacombs.
Yeah.
The catacombs of Paris.
Is this a horror?
You know
film?
what's in the catacombs?
Yeah, skulls.
No. In this movie, do you know what's under Paris? In the Seine? The river? Fucking killer shark.
A killer shark.
It's a French shark movie.
Oh.
Yes.
Weird.
Jake, this is in the running for my favorite film of the year.
French animal movie.
There's a shark in Paris.
This is crazy.
There's a shark in Paris eating French people.
Huh.
Jake, this movie's incredible.
It's quizzical.
So I found out about this movie because I was listening to one of my favorite people, Kevin Smith, on one of my other favorite people, Theo Von's podcast. And he brought up the fact that they made it. He's like, it's just French Jaws. Okay. He's like, and he said every country should make their own Jaws and make them compete for which country can make the best Jaws.
Oh, we already did. It's America. They made Jaws.
I don't know. Under Paris is pretty great. So it's not campy like The Meg. It's not that kind of French, or it's not that kind of shark movie. It's a very serious movie with like an environmental message behind it.
Have you ever seen The Host?
Yeah, that's
The
a big
Korean?
big monster movie. Yeah.
Monster movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
So yeah, watch Under Paris. I will not lead you astray on this, because if you don't like a foreign film that I recommended, that says more about you than it does about me. I'm gonna watch Edge Runners. Thank you to our buddies Brother Bill for giving us the theme song, and thank you to Jimmy for doing all our artwork. Jake, thank you for having me over.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, see you later. Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.